All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Spotter Stand. We are coming to you live this week from Richmond International Raceway. Some more great racing action. Bring you some winners' picks and everything that's coming up next week. Once again, in the booth with us, we've got BSR Pockets, BSR Hot Rod, and we've got a few special guests this week with us. We've got Terry Scott and Jimmy Dale and Monty Keller all in the booth with us. How you guys doing today?
Feel good.
Doing all right.
What's up?
How's it going, everybody? How y'all doing today?
Well, we appreciate you guys being here with us. It's going to be a great show, I think, this week, and I appreciate everybody who's tuning in live out there on YouTube. Let's get right into it. We've got some picks to share with you this week. First, we want to start off by welcoming a couple of new, recently tagged BSR members. I'm going to start out with BSR Ricky J, formerly known as Rick Johnson, the number 193, driving these Boyles Trucking sponsored cars in all of our different series. Recently accepted the Bomb Squad Racing tag and is now known as BSR Ricky J. Congratulations and welcome to the family there, Rick. We're glad to have you. Great racer, great guy. Glad to have you aboard, man.
Absolutely. BSR Ricky J, or as Monty likes to call him, White Boy Rick. It's the Bomb Squad Racing team. And yes, we are proud to have Rick. He also inked a deal here recently. Y'all may have noticed with Voiles Trucking, with Kathy Voiles, owner of Voiles Trucking, has tapped him to be the representative of their company in sim racing. So he's White Boy Rick got it going on. We're glad to have him here and welcome him to the family as Texans.
And we've got one other driver we'd also like to give a big welcome to, and that would be BSR Randy C. Randy Claflin, also recently tagged member, new join up to the Bomb Squad Racing family, driving the number 29 car. Even though it's a Ford, we still like him. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong with driving a Ford, huh, Larry? I believe you drive a Ford too, don't you?
Yes, absolutely nothing wrong with my Fords.
Yeah, big welcome to Randy Claflin. We appreciate you, and another great guy, great driver. We are glad to have aboard the Bomb Squad Racing family, and welcome. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say? Two great drivers, two great guys. Welcome additions to the Bomb Squad Racing team.
Yes, and Randy is very active in a lot of racing things. He likes real racing. He's a great guy. I mean, I'll never forget the first night Randy came into the Saturday Night Team Series and raced. And I promise you, Randy won't never forget it either. I will remember that as long as I live. And Randy is a great he is a great sportsman. He's very knowledgeable about all kinds of racing. He's a huge race fan. And I'm going to tell you, Randy is as good a guy as you'll ever find out there. That guy's got a heart of gold, and we're really proud to bring him onto the team also. And I'll tell you, the way this deal works is that wearing a tag means you're an official card carrying, we call it wearing the jacket for Bomb Squad Racing. And how that happens is that guys come in here to enjoy sim racing with us, and they either show us something that we really value and trust as a league and as a member of our league, or they ask us, how do people become tagged wearing members of Bomb Squad Racing, and we explain it to them. And like I've always said, the first thing we look for is just good people. We believe that everything else that follows that first requirement will pretty much take care of itself, from sim racing to whatever else we're all involved in together as a group. If you're a good person, that's the first requirement right there. And really, the only requirement to become a tagged wearing member of Bomb Squad Racing. Now, we do want you to be a good sport. We do want you to to represent our league with the highest integrity and respect and stuff like that. And these guys have all matched those. Every one of the people that you see with a BSR tag fully meet all the requirements, and they are the owners of this league. If you see a guy with a BSR tag in front of his name, he is an owner of this league. There is not one person that owns this league. This league is owned by its members. I, BSR Pockets, am just the longest standing active member by seniority, and that's how it works. So I am basically just I sit at the head of the seniority table, and I'm basically just the lead spokesperson and the person that takes care of a lot of the business, because by seniority, it falls to me as my responsibility. That's how this works. And welcome Ricky J and Randy to our league. We're glad to have you.
Absolutely. And one other pick I've got to share with you, something we'd like to talk about today on the spotter stand. As a lot of you already know, our own BSR Hot Rod, Larry Yeager Jr., has recently got a new YouTube channel going, and he's got his daughter helping him out, doing some live streams of the races from more of a broadcaster point of view, instead of just watching one racer the entire race. Now you have the option to go and watch this stream where you can see, all the cars. I believe his daughter's in there. She's moving the camera around from one car to another, changing camera angles, and giving us some really great views of the race as it happens live. And we've got a logo here that's BSR Scars recently made for Larry. And great looking logo, Bomb Squad Racing Live right there. Larry's going to be using this. And if you'll check in the description box down here below the video, as always, we've got the link to the Drunken Cow Jerky website, where you can go and purchase some of that great jerky. But just below that link, there's another link to Larry's new YouTube channel down there. And if you haven't already done so, I notice he's got a few subscribers already, but if you haven't already done so, click on that link. That'll take you over to Larry's new site there. You can subscribe to him over there, and anytime he's broadcasting one of our races from a broadcaster point of view, you'll be able to go and watch that, as well as all of our other driver live streams. So now you've got even more options to watch some of these live races. If you're not watching my live stream, or Pocket's live stream, or Rick Johnson's live stream, you can go and watch the race from the bird's eye view, so to speak. And I think it's pretty cool. Larry's got some cool tools he's recently downloaded, some things he's going to be adding, and I think it's going to be great. It's going to look great, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, this all came about because, as some of you may or may not know, we're going to explain to you. When you stream, you're only capturing what you see on your screen. So whether if you drive in car or chase view or in the cockpit or whatever, when you broadcast, you're broadcasting your race. That's Texan's race, the 201. That's what's happening to him in real time as he's out there racing with about a 10-second delay. Same for me. When you watch BSR Pocket stream, and we funnel all of those through the Drunken Cow Jerky 6 Flavors Racing page on Facebook. That is our kind of, that's the jumping off point to where you can find all these different streams. And for me, if you watch my stream, everybody knows, anybody that hasn't watched, I don't suck. But I'm not Texan either, or I'm not Chevy Chase, or I'm a little above average sim racer. So when you watch my stream, you're getting to ride with a little bit of above average sim racer. So that's only going to be so exciting. I mean, we've had our moments on Team 38 Hot, but I mean, still, it is what it is. This was, Larry and I, we sit in here all the time, and we're looking for ways to improve what we do here. And Larry had the equipment. Larry's done the footwork and leg work, and he's working on it, been working on it feverishly for the last couple of days, so that we can give you what we, like Killa said, a bird's eye spectator's kind of view of a broadcast kind of view without actually having people in there actually calling the race. This way you can kind of look at all the cars at once racing. It just gives you a much better perspective, just like you were sitting in the stands watching a real race, because as you've all heard me say before, we try to simulate the real world of racing onto our computers and then onto you to watch and enjoy, just like the spotter stand. So that's basically the concept we're going for there.
Yes, and we're going to slowly and surely work this into a true broadcast where there'll be some live commentations and stuff like that. And every week there'll be something new added, and we're going to work our way there.
Yeah, we're just basically, instead of outsourcing any kind of broadcasting or anything like that, we're pretty much trying to do everything in house that we can be in control of and we can take care of and we can use. It's just another tool for us to use, especially for our sponsor, Drunken Cow Jerky. You know, you turn on YouTube, you're watching some sim racing, you hear people talking about drunkencowjerky.com. Who doesn't like beef jerky? Who really doesn't like beer and whiskey soaked beef jerky? And it's just another one of the tools that we're using to help our sponsor, who helps us, and in turn helps sim racing in general. So everybody wins here. It's just one of those deals that we do that benefits everyone involved.
That's right.
Well, let's get into the week's racing. One of our new members there, BSR Ricky J, that we featured in the beginning of the show. This is pretty much going to be his show today. He took some victories this week, as you guys are going to see as we move through the week here. Let's start out with Wednesday night. Wednesday night, the truck season was off again. They'll be off for the next few weeks. So, as usual, we're running the Drunken Cow Jerky Late Model Dirt Series to fill in the gaps when the truck season is off. And this week, in the Drunken Cow Jerky Late Model Dirt Series, we ran at Fulton in the dirt.
No.
Was it not Fulton?
No, it was not Fulton.
I thought it was Fulton.
Wednesday night?
Yeah, Wednesday
night was Orange County Fairgrounds Speedway.
I thought that was next week.
Oh no, that was Friday night. I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself.
No, Friday night was Middleton.
Okay.
Yeah, we ran at Fulton on Wednesday night, and it was BSR Ricky J and that number 193 Boyle's trucking machine, Ford Fusion, that brought home the victory at Fulton in the dirt.
Yes, Ricky J won. Brain Fade got second. Pockets got third. Brian Wills got fourth, and the Texan rounds out top five.
Hey, Larry.
Yes, sir.
Don't let us distract you or bother you or anything. You okay over there?
I'm getting there.
All right, I'm just gonna let you know. It's just
my notes were shuffled around a little bit.
We're just doing a live broadcast. Don't let us bother you.
Hey, I just pulled Randy down here. He jumped on to TeamSpeak. I saw him up there in the lobby, so figured he might want to come down in here and join us since we just welcomed him to the team here. How you doing, Randy?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks a lot for letting me join up with you guys. Been a great time so far.
Hey, of course. I've seen where you type, "Can you come in here?" And absolutely, you can come in here. This is all yours now, buddy. How you feel?
Hey, you gotta love it. I've been appreciated half to death, man. I really enjoy racing with you guys. Always have.
Well, I'm not going to tell the story about the first night that you came into Bomb Squad racing. I'm going to leave it as something between you and I that we both are going to always remember that night, aren't we?
You ain't kidding there. Hey, I've learned a lot since then.
There you go. And that's a perfect example right there of that. You know, we look for good people, and Randy come in on his first night, and he's a good guy, and we're really glad to have him. And that's just one of those stories that you hear when you become a member of this league. You know, I'm not going to tell that story. That's something that Randy and I are going to share and laugh about for years to come. So, but that's just how it all worked out, and we're glad to have Randy with us.
Yeah, Randy, also my teammate this season in the Drunken Cow Jerky Battle of the Six Flavors. My teammate on Ghost, along with SS Joba. And we're glad to have him on the team, and we're glad to have him as one of the newest members of BSR. And I hope you like that render that I had of your car. I went over to the Mod Squad. If any of you guys out there don't know of the Mod Squad, you can look them up. It's a great place to go and get some great looking renders of your cars. You know, if you don't have a render, or you like to see a good render of any of your cars, they've got just about every mod in the game listed over there. And you can get some of them have single car renders, some double cars. You know, great place to go and get some of your renders. And that's where I was able to go get that render of your Gen 6 15 car, um, Randy. Yeah, if you'd like to have that, I can definitely send it to you so you can have that to keep.
Oh, that'd be really cool. I haven't seen that thing in a couple of years. That's a really nice looking car.
I'm going to tell you right now, Randy knows the Mod Squad all too well because Randy, he's a painter. He's active out with a lot of these painting groups and places like that. And I can assure you, he knows all about the Mod Squad. And I don't even know how you found that car. And here's the thing about the Mod Squad. You mentioned them. How fantastic is that place? I still can't wrap my head around what the Mod Squad does, but they do it. I don't know how they do it, but it's almost like magic. Those guys must be some type of geniuses because I don't know how all that works, but I just know that it works great, and that may be the single most great contribution to NASCAR Racing 2003 was a place where you could just go plug in a file and it spits out a render. Who would have thought?
Absolutely. When I found out about them, it's a great place to go and just get a render of, like I said, just about any mod that most leagues currently race in this game. You can get a render of any car you want, all the different makes and models, and all the different mods that you're going to run, and it's free of charge. Just go make yourself a membership, and you can submit paints and get all the renders that you like. And hats off to those guys for doing something like that for the sim racing community.
I will tell you this, that they don't just do that little render dealio thing. I was actually reading this week that new game, that new sim, NASCAR Heat 3, the console kind of, but it's available for PC. Mod Squad had something to do with a mod and some tracks that they are actually if I read that correct, Randy may be able to have read that and tell me about it, but they're integrating their modified mod and tracks into that real just released sim through an agreement kind of deal that actually brings that group out of and puts their work into a real current sim that's out there right now. So that is a huge deal. Am I explaining that right, Randy?
Well, to be honest with you, I've only used them a couple of times. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's a really neat operation they got going on there that, even, just anybody who can paint, that you can paint a car, you stick that thing in there and just use your JPEG or your TGA file that you would come out of your paint with, and boom, you got a nice render. And hey, I've seen a few of the cars I've made actually look good.
Yeah,
and that NASCAR Heat, they do offer renders for that one as well. That they have two games you can select from when you're going to put your TGA file in, and I believe NASCAR Heat, that Heat is one, and the NASCAR 2003 sim is the other one.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and I know that Randy, being a car painter, the car painters and the people you can get a render from, they got their own little networking groups going together. They're passing files back and forth, helping each other out and everything like that. So that's probably why Randy's been doing it that way for a long time, as opposed to using the Mod Squad like a guy that didn't have somebody he could send to have a render made for his car. That's a very valuable thing for people. I mean, it really is.
Well, let's take a look here at the points on the Wednesday night late model dirt series. We are several races into this series. Trucks have been off quite a few times this season.
Yes, there's only 3 races left.
Only 3 left, and looky there, BSR Brain Fade still holding that top spot down, and he is 17 points ahead of BSR Furco and BSR Pockets, who are both tied for second place. BSR Hot Rod, not such a great week last week, but still only 18 points behind as the Foot Doctor with 3 races to go, and BSR Axel Foley rounding out the top 5 down by 87. You hear that out there? I see you out there in the chat, Brain. Only 3 races to go, and you've got a 17 to 18 point lead. You just got to hold on to for 3 more races, man. You'll bring home that championship.
Yep, he's holding her down. He's holding her down.
Look at me. Here I am. I'm tied with second with Furco. Look, Foot Doctor, 1 point behind me. So you know where I'm going, right? You know where I'm going. 4th place. You know what 4th place gets in this series, right?
Right, nothing.
Yeah, dick. That's it. Nothing. But thanks to Brian and Kathy Voiles at Voiles Trucking for supplying the top 3 with prizes. So, you know, there you go.
I'm only 377 back.
Monty, how many races? 3 races left. You got to average about 100 points, a little 120 points. Hey, I'm not saying it's not mathematically. You know what I mean? I'm for you, not against you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back there a good ways myself. I've missed a few races in this. I'm almost 100 points back. I'm 97 out of the lead. So,
but you got to look at it this way, Mr. Looney. You can play spoiler. You can kind of predict who becomes champion, who don't. That's the way you look at it going in there.
Mr. Looney in
Mr.
here?
Keller.
Oh, that was Lonnie. I'm sorry.
That's right.
He's the Foot Doctor.
Shut up, Brian. Brian Voiles from Voiles Trucking. That's right. Shut up.
Get faster pockets and come get some. I see that.
That's my teammate.
You're right, Brian. You're right. I know. It's dirt.
Well, on Thursday night, we did have a cup race. And Thursday night cup series following the NASCAR season. We are 2 races into the chase now. We raced at Richmond on Thursday night. And it was Rick Craddock in that number 22 ski machine that brought home the victory at Richmond. Great race by Rick. Rick is a great driver, really consistent. And not surprised to see him bring home a victory here in the chase, man. Great job, Rick.
Yes, congrats to Rick Craddock for the win. Axel Foley 2nd, Terry Scott 3rd, Steve Looney 4th, and Nelly 5th.
Larry?
I had to stutter for a second.
Are you okay?
I had to stutter for a
I'm
second.
just checking on you. I just want to make sure.
It got shuffled around for uncircumstantial reasons.
How late did you stay up working on all this stuff? Have you had any sleep at all? I mean,
not very much.
That's kind of what I thought. Are you going to be okay? Just hang in there. Hang in there. All right. Thank you.
Where did you say Terry Scott finished in that race?
Terry Scott finished 3rd in that race.
3rd. I thought Terry had a good race. Tell us a little bit about that race. Rick's not here to give us the winner's point of view, but I know you had a pretty decent race there on Thursday night at Richmond, Terry. How'd that race go for you?
That was a good race. Rick's always fast at Richmond. Used to be good there too, and tried, but we just couldn't catch up with the top guys.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way. It seems like a couple of years ago, I used to be great at Richmond, and I didn't even manage a top 5 in this last race. And it was all I could do just to keep the car under me and stay, somewhere in the mid-pack. I was really struggling there at Richmond, but, Rick Craddock, hats off, man. Great job. He drove a great race and got him that victory. I know Rick's going to have to miss a race next week, which is really going to hurt his chase championship chances. But Rick's a great driver, and we'll have 7 races to go after he misses that race next week, and he will get provisionals for the 1 race. Everybody's allowed to miss 1 race in the chase. You will get provisionals for 1. If you miss more than 1, well, you're not going to get any provisionals for that second one, but you can miss 1, get provisionals, and still have a chance to come back and win a championship. And I know Rick's going to be hoping to take advantage of that by missing one race next week. This victory is definitely going to help his chances in that respect.
That's right.
Let's take a look at the points here for the Thursday night chase. 2 races in. It's still BSR Axel Foley up at the top there. Steve Looney has moved up a spot to take over second place, down by 4 points. Myself, BSR Texan, dropped a spot, finished in third place right now, down by 5. And there's Rick Craddock. Look at that, moved up 5 spots with that great race to take over 4th place, only down by 12 points. BSR Brain Fade also moved up a spot to take over 5th place, down by 16 points. Looking right behind Brain at the next, you've got 3 drivers that are all tied for 6th place. And Terry, I see you in there as one of them. You moved up 4 spots with that race at Richmond to tie for 6th place, all down by 17 points. And there's Pockets down by 19, sitting in 9th place. But points are still really close here. And with 8 races to go, it could be anybody's race. And I'm looking at Steve Looney sitting up there, 4 points off. We're coming up on a road course, as you guys know, next week. We're going to be running. We don't have a version of the Charlotte road course, so we're going to substitute the Daytona road course in that spot. But coming up on a road course with Steve Looney sitting in 2nd place, down by 4 points, man, anything could happen. I can tell you, Axel's going to have to get out there and do some practice if he wants to have a decent finish and try to hold on to that top spot after next week.
Yes, both series running the road course this week, both Cup and Xfinity.
So we verified that, right?
I absolutely verified.
There you go. All right. Foot Doctor says it's word. And you're right about these points, and I'm so glad that you pointed out the fact that I was in 9th, and yes, I did lose a position this week. So I want everybody to realize that I'm sucking in the series. Basically, I'm in 6th. Everybody, Terry Scott's here. He's passed me. I mean,
Me too, Pockets. I even had a good week till about the last, I don't know, like 10 laps, and it all went to crap.
But I will tell you this: 9th, 10th, 11th. I mean, we're
still right there. We're still in the hunt.
This is all mathematically possible. A lot of things can happen in 6, 7, 8 races. We're headed to Talladega. We're going to a road course. So that's why I fell a spot. Yes, I'm in 9th. I am only 19 points back, and there's a 3-way tie for 17th. 5th is 16th. So
well, look at Mr. Terry Scott. He came into the beginning of this as a leader with a pretty big margin, and the thing about a driver like Terry Scott is you're talking about a past champion. You're talking about the 2016. Was it 16, Terry? Won
15.
Was it 15? Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure it wasn't 16? Maybe so. But I mean, we're talking about a past champion. He's got 2 trophies, one from a Wednesday night championship and one from a Friday night championship. He is actually the one that tied with Momo. I believe it was that year, wasn't it, Terry, that you tied with Momo? The points were so close to the Friday night series, you tied. We had to resort back to wins, and you had.
It might have been 2014. Was that the year that you bought me a trophy?
Yeah, it's I don't know. We'll have to look. It's just, but like
it
I
was
said,
1 point. It gets tight.
Yeah.
Look at the jumps people made just in one race here because it's so early in this chase. People moving 4 and 5 spots just because of where they finished.
And so when you see a driver like Terry Scott, this is chase time. Of course, you're expecting him to be moving. How many points did he move up?
He moved up
4 spots.
4 spots in one race, yeah. And Rick Craddock moved up 5 spots in one race. So you don't see a lot of people that have dropped too many. I think the biggest dropper there would be Magoo, down 4 spots, and you got Chevy who went down by 2 spots. But most of the other guys who lost just lost, 1 position or whatever. But Rick Craddock, 5 spots in one race.
It helps having 3 people that are tied for, what is that, 4th place?
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to change next week. That's for sure. You know, and Pockets, like you said, even though you're sitting back in ninth place right now, you're only 19 points back. And as we know, we're coming up on Talladega, and Pockets, a great super speedway racer, has been doing it for so long, especially with that Saturday night team series that we run every Saturday night. It's been going on for so long, all the way into season 36 now. Pockets has got the super speedways down, so I mean
Mr. Pockets.
that could be your great equalizer right there if you can just
Me,
manage
you, and
some
Momo
decent
need to
finishes.
maximize points
I,
at Talladega. I can see some teamwork going on there.
let me tell you something. I race all year long for Talladega week in October in the fall in sim racing. That is my week. That's my most favorite week. It's starting to get cool outside, crisp. Maybe need a jacket when you get up in the morning. You can smell football in the air, and we're headed to Talladega. And that's my time of year right there. I love it. It's my most favorite time. I do everything else the rest of the year for that week in October.
I'm just saying, me, you, and Momo need to maximize points there, so I can see some teamwork happening there.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, to we're pointing out Terry Scott went 4 positions. That's a past champion. Is that news to anybody? You damn right, Terry Scott's on the move. But I tell you, to see Axel Foley and Steve Looney, the mailman, up there in first and second place, and there's champions behind them, right underneath them. So to see those two guys who have never won a major championship at this league holding out the lead right there, I like seeing that. That means those guys, man, they know what they're up against, and they're driving their guts out every week. And I'm rooting for them. I like seeing that. I like to see drivers like that up there, and we'll see how it all pans out, and we'll keep you up to date every Sunday afternoon right here on Spotter Stand.
Absolutely, I'm getting a kick out of seeing them up there too. And you know, like I had a little talk with Axel last week, and I told him, you know, I'm rooting for him too. You know, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. He does our, you know, the intro that I use in my stream. Axel, that's Axel Foley's music. That's him playing every bit of that. Not only a great guy, but a good racer and a lot of fun on the track. And you know, hell, I'm rooting for him to bring home this championship. Of course, I like Steve Looney too. I mean, there's another great guy. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Steve take it home either. Steve's a great driver, and like I said, we're coming up on this road course. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Steve pulls off a victory or at least a top 3 there, and may even move into that top spot. So, like I said, Axel's going to have to. He's going to have to get on the track, get some practice as much as possible to try to get the best finish he can to keep it ahead of Steve. And you know, speaking of great road course racers, I believe we were just joined here in the booth by KJ Kilojoules and also the number 28 of Keith McLean. Both of those guys are also great on the road courses. I know KJ's recently here this afternoon even been already putting in a few laps there at that Daytona road course. How's that track feel, KJ?
The high speed corners kind of missing some grip in it. I forgot how hard this track was. I'm just testing out a new body, new chassis for next week. I got me a new sponsor on the car too. So we're just turning some laps.
Well, who's your new sponsor?
I got Bush Ice on the car for next week.
Little influence somebody else.
I was fixing to say, did Keith buy you a couple of cases of Bush Ice, or are you just getting ready to hang out with Keith in person and getting ready to drink some Bush Ice, or what's the deal there?
We're going to Martinsville next month, so he told me if I put it on the car, he'd give me free beer.
Oh, well, there you go then. What a great deal. You can't pass that up. That's outstanding.
Yeah, Keith, another great driver. We kind of count on him. You know, if there's enough cautions in the race, then you know Keith will have enough beers in him that the rest of us have got a chance to beat him. So that's kind of what we count on every time Keith's in the suffer.
Now, I do want to point out that while we are on the spotter stand, we have KJ in here with us in the spotter stand. While he's actually practicing at this track we're talking about while we're in here doing the spotter stand. So Next Sunday when we do the spotter stand, if you see KJ's name, you're probably going to know why, because that's what he's doing right now. He's practicing.
Yeah, and one of the best road course racers I've ever seen, right along with HB Hardy, who's usually running right there with him, giving him that competition. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that KJ is the guy to bring home the victory. Speaking about how tough that track is, I know in the beginning after turn one there's a lot of tight, slow speed turns. But that one, I'm not sure what it's called. It's like a kink there as you're coming down the long straightaway, and then you have to make the left-hander and then the quick right-hander to get back out on the main part of the track. That has always been the toughest part of that course for me, and I think for a lot of drivers. You got to hit that just right to be smooth through there and be able to hold any kind of speed. So that's going to be a spot on the track where drivers are they're going to gain a lot of time or to lose a lot of time. It could go either way right there.
Opens up fast. Sorry.
Let me ask KJ, so we try to simulate real racing here. They throw this road course on us. There's not a legitimate version of this road course for us to use in simulation. How do you feel personally as a racer about our choice of filling in that Daytona road course and trying to stay somewhat stimulated to the real race schedule?
Well, I would consider it a roval also. So you still got a roval. Daytona road course is pretty tough. You got high speed corners and slow corners. You got to have a balance between the bank part of the track and the slow corners. And I'm pretty sure people don't have setups for this track either. So it's going to be a challenge. You might have a different winner just because it's tracks unique to everybody.
You brought the key point that I was pushing to do this is that yes, it's a roval. It's really in my opinion, from what I can see and information I could gather, it's about the best choice for roval that we had. So at least we stuck with the roval part of it and offered that as one of our chase races, because I said automatically that having a road course in the middle of a chase is not going to do anything but create excitement, because you're throwing something that's never been done before in a chase type scenario, a road course. How can that not be exciting? I'm terrible at road courses, but I'm excited to race in this race because a lot of stuff can happen in a road course race.
I also want to add, Pockets, you're going to have the draft play a factor at this track too, so you're going to have all kind of crazy stuff going down in turn one.
I was thinking about that the other day when I was running a couple of laps at practice. I mean, you got to sit. My gear was wrong. You're going to have to consider that long ride around on the super speedway part of it as the draft. That's going to affect your gear, is it not? You're going to have to choose a little bit different gear. You're going to have one that works in slow speed taking off and first to a good fourth gear with some draft on it.
What I got going on right now, I'm just playing around with it. I'm only using first and second gear on most of the track. I'm only using fourth out of that one corner. So I'm going to gear third and fourth about the same. Just in case I blow a gear or something, I can still carry speed on the straightaways.
There you go. You heard it here. You're hearing an expert give you advice on how to run this track. So I suggest everybody. And there is no charge for that here on the spotter stand. So you're welcome for that. Thank you, KJ.
Yeah, that's some great advice actually for that track. And now that I'm hearing about all these different guys that have already started practicing for this race that's not coming up until Thursday, I haven't turned a lap yet on this track. I haven't raced Daytona Road Course in probably over a year. So I think after the show this evening, I'm going to have to get down there on the track and see what I've got and try to learn this track, relearn the track, and get as good as I can here.
You were putting your wheel on your desk when KJ was talking. I know you were. So, yeah, of course, as soon as this is over, we'll know where to find you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. My wheel stays on my desk. I never take it off.
I got you.
I'm sitting behind it right now.
I don't really have that. I don't have that luxury. I have to take mine on and off because of the situation I'm set up here as. But yeah. So there you go. Road course coming up this week. Get ready.
Well, I can see out there in the chat, we've already got a couple of thumbs up there and the likes. The rest of you guys out there, if you like what we're doing here every week, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you like what we're doing, and we're going to keep on doing it for you. Let's move on to Friday night and take a look. Friday night, we run the Xfinity Series. We follow the NASCAR schedule once again, and we were at Richmond again on Friday night in the Xfinity cars. And I told you guys earlier it was going to be the Ricky J show, and once again, it was BSR Ricky J and that number 193 Boyles trucking ride that brought home the victory at Richmond.
Yes. Great win to Ricky J. Terry Scott second. Steve Looney third. Monty Keller fourth. And Nelly rounds out the top five.
All right, y'all do me a favor. Can somebody text me or something when the Rick Johnson show's over, and then I'll come back in and give my thoughts.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, did you hear Monty Keller there in fourth place, bringing home the top
we
five?
Let's talk to him about this race. Monty, do you even remember Thursday night or Friday night?
Yeah, I got lucky though. I think Texan got into it with somebody. That's why I got fourth. I had a good long run car though.
I tell you, if we look at the points here in a minute, you'll see where Monty's at, and Monty is he's a great driver and he's fun to race with. He really is. He's got some things that keep me laughing all the time, like White Boy Rick there on the screen. Congratulations, White Boy Rick.
It was fun at Richmond. I had a good run Thursday too, but at the end of the race, I just driver error.
I don't know. I got sixth, and I had a pretty good race. I thought it was a great race. It turned out really good.
Yeah, I had fun.
Yeah, I think we only had a few cautions at Richmond. And
they said.
Yeah, all the drivers were talking about this both nights, Thursday night and Friday night at that Richmond track. If you guys remember, the previous week we ran Vegas, and you'd think you would have some great caution-free racing at Vegas, but we had quite a few cautions in those Vegas races, both of them Thursday and Friday night. But then we come over to Richmond, a short track, speeds are a lot slower. There's a lot of braking going on. We run nearly green flag on both of those races, Thursday night and Friday night. We had green flag pit stops. We had several long runs. Those were great races, absolutely awesome. And all the drivers, did a great job. And those were awesome races, a lot of fun at Richmond.
I'm really glad y'all had fun. I'm hats off to the winner. So happy for everybody having fun, but I didn't.
But if we watched your stream, that did not look fun.
Yeah, I watched your stream too. I was like, wow.
It's just horrible. I mean, I missed the setup. I missed everything. I made mistakes right off the bat. I was distracted with other things going on, and my week at Richmond has been horrible. It's a chase. We're in the chase, and I'm just like, Friday night, I'm like, what am I? Why did I let Richmond slip up on me and throw me these kind of curves? But hey, that's racing.
Well, this will be
miss
great.
it, you miss it.
Mr. Pockets. You actually got to move up a spot in the standings.
Yeah, I was just about to say, let's take a look at the standings. I was going to say you lost a spot in the Cup standings. Let's see where you went in the Xfinity standings. We're 3 races in now to this chase in the Xfinity Series with 7 left to go. And here are the current point standings. BSR Terry Scott, would you look at that, moves up a spot to take over the lead. With myself, BSR Texan dropped a spot down to second place, down by 1 point. That's a tight race right there. BSR Momo still holding on to that third spot, down by 10. And then you've got Pockets and Nelly both tied for 4th place there. Pockets, you moved up 1 spot, and Nelly, with a great race, moved up 4 spots in that one race to tie for 4th place, down by 26. And you got Brain Fade right behind them, only down by 27. And Hot Rod, you're sitting right there in 7th, down by 30.
Yep, made up 2 positions, and I gained a good bit of points. I had a really good run for a change.
Hey, we're proud to be moving up in the points. I mean, we really are. Team 38 Hot, Drunken Cow Jerky team. Yeah, we're I'm remembering a couple of weeks ago we were in second, down to fifth, and we just moved back up to fourth. So, but we are moving in the right direction. It is a tie. It's still mathematically possible here, and you got great drivers like Terry Scott. We're talking about Terry Scott a lot, talking about Rick Johnson. I think Terry's probably got a spare bedroom. If those two move together, they could just start their own YouTube show.
Yeah, this is actually a great week that you were able to join us here on the Spotter Stand, Terry. How does it feel to be sitting
User
at the
joined
top
your
of the
channel.
board in one of these major series and right there in the hunt for the championship in the Xfinity Series this season?
Yeah, this is good. This is what we race all year for. The chase is when it really starts to pay off. The rest of it, I mean, it's always fun, but it just seems to get a little bit more tense, a little bit more means a lot, in the chase races.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's past champion talking right there, sitting on top of the board, so everybody knows what they got to do. At least, Terry, let me ask you this: how do you feel with this many races, being at the top, knowing everybody that is looking at you right now, and when we get on the next track for the next 7 races, they're going to keep looking at you until they look at these standings and you are behind them. How does that make you feel as a driver?
Oh, this week we go to a road course, so they are laughing out loud because they know I'm going to finish dead last.
Nah, you're a good
fast,
road course racer.
Yes, you're not the strongest of the road course guys. That's for sure.
I guess the question I'm really wanting to ask here is do you feel comfortable being at the top, peaking this soon, knowing that it's yours to lose, or would you rather be flying under the radar, so to speak? Would you rather be the chaser or at this point the chasee?
Yeah, the chasee. It's always better to be on top than trying to get up there. You can get lucky and hang on to it, but if you ain't there, you ain't there. You're still trying to get there.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. It's always better to be there. And this course coming up, speaking from experience and somebody who loves road courses, we've had some tough road courses this year, but this one in particular, it's not so easy to stay on the track. And if you get off the track in the wrong place, you can end up spinning in the grass. You can even end up in that concrete wall that's out there on the track. And you can lose a whole lot of time really fast. So, even though you may not feel like you're the best road racer, if you can just manage to keep it on the track and stay consistent, somebody else, like myself or KJ or HB, some of the guys that are probably going to be running fairly good, could very easily make some mistakes, and you can capitalize on that. So, yeah, I wouldn't count yourself out at the Daytona Road Course by any means.
The big banks bring in all that drafting, so you've got like a double whammy. You've got people that are going to be wanting to run together and draft, and then you've got this inner road course, and it's either going to be super fun or super mayhem. I've been on it a couple times. The corners come up a lot quicker than you would think. It's really slick. The corners really get really slow, like the last one at Sonoma, and then it's bank. It's big banks. So there could be people, like you said, going into turn 1 is going to be trauma.
And I ask you that question about being on top because I have actually the opposite philosophy of I prefer to be the chaser, because as the chasee, you are on top, but you cannot make a mistake. As the chaser, all you have to do is wait for you to make that mistake. So the chaser doesn't have the extra added severe pressure of not making a mistake. He's actually waiting to capitalize on your mistake. So that's why I like not being on top this early, because you're going to have to defend for 7 races. So you understand my philosophy of why I was asking how it feels to be at the top at this stage as opposed to later where you have less time that you have to defend your lead.
Yeah, the people that end up at the top, it seems like it's always the same people. And if you're ahead of them going into a race, you just basically have to worry about where they're at in that race. If you're chasing them, you have to try a whole lot harder because you got to beat them by more than just being in front of them. You got to go up and get them. And it's a totally harder way to do it. It's just easier to be on top and hang on to it.
Yeah,
For me.
and it's easier, once you've got that spot, you've got, if you're a chaser, like Terry said, you have to gain extra points. You have to make sure you finish in front of that guy that's behind you or
And
that's in
you
front of
can't.
you.
Yeah,
And if you don't, if you're on top already, you can like say where Terry's at with me, he could finish a spot behind me and still be tied for the lead. But if he were behind me, if he wants to gain that lead, he's got to finish in front of me. So it is a little easier, in my opinion, if you're already up there, you have those points. You don't have to make up as many points in each individual race to try to stay on the top of the board there, or stay at least close to the top of the board.
and even the chaser can't make mistakes if he's chasing. He can't make mistakes. He has to capitalize on the chasee. So basically, what Terry has solidified for me is that being on the top and having everybody looking at him, he's also looking too. He sees who he's racing. So it's a kind of a two-way street there. They're looking at him. He's looking right back at them.
Yep. And as we move over to take a look at the Friday night Boyles Trucking Dirt Series, I noticed that we were also joined here in the booth by BSR Ricky J, one of the newest tag members. How you doing, Rick? It's good to see you.
I'm good. What party did I walk into? Holy shit!
You walked up into the spotter stand. We've got a good group in here tonight, and we're glad you could join us. I don't know if you've seen any of the show so far, but we've already displayed two of your victories. The first one on Wednesday night at Fulton in the dirt, and then the second one on Friday night at Richmond in the Xfinity Series. And now here in the Boyles Trucking Dirt Series on Friday night, we run this in a late night after the Xfinity Series is over. We ran at Middleton in the dirt, and once again, it was BSR Ricky J in that number 193 Boyles Trucking Machine. Bring home another victory this week at Middleton, man. Great job, Rick. Congratulations.
Yes, Orange County Fairground. Ricky J with the win. Eli second, Rick Craddock third, Chevy Chase fourth, and Farco rounds out the top five.
Now Rick runs great in the dirt. It seems like just about anywhere we go, he was always a competitor when we were running the Devil's Bowl every Friday night. Now that we moved over to the different tracks, the Empire State Dirt Series, he still runs great every time he shows up to race at the dirt. And on Wednesday night, he's been doing great in the dirt there as well. Great job. How do you do it, Rick? How do you stay so consistent and compete with the likes of the Foot Doctor in the dirt?
Well, there's just a lot of times that I end up staying up late at night. Go in and practice offline or in the server with some of the guys and just keep running laps. And one of my methods is that I'll just go out there, try to run as many hot laps as I can just to see what the limits are. And then I just know how much speed I need to take off for that limit in order to apply it to a race situation. And that's where, with all that practice, I feel like I get a lot of my speed from. And I just keep practicing. And sometimes I'll spend 2 or 3 hours practicing a track. That's all a lot of it really is. Just a lot of practice and a lot of hard work and commitment. And a lot of drive to win and, just putting yourself in the right position. All those aspects always come into play. And luck, of course.
It's tough being white boy Rick, isn't it? It's really. I know the struggle is real. I know the struggle is real, and I know that you also knew that this was going, due to your success this week. You knew that the spotter stand was going to be the Rick Johnson show. So we really appreciate you showing up for your only show. I do want to say this though. Remind me after the show that I can make you admin of all these different pages so you can post your own render, because I'm getting tired of seeing your car.
Well, I can tell you somebody who's not. That'd be Kathy Boyles. That's her driver. Boyles
Yes.
Trucking Series.
No disrespect to Kathy. I love you, Kathy. I'm just messing with Rick.
I'm sure she loves seeing those renders and those cars and putting that Bulls Trucking sponsored car in victory lane and giving him that exposure. That's great. Um, let's check out the points here in this Friday night Empire State Dirt Series. As we are in it right now, the Foot Doctor stands at the top of the board, and look at there, BSR Chevy Chase moving up 3 spots to take over second, down by 8. BSR Brain Fade in third, down by 10. We got Steve Looney moves up 2 spots to take over fourth place, down by 13. And BSR Brian Boyles, the sponsor of this series, drops 1 spot, hanging on to the top 5 there, down by 16. Where are we going to next week in this series, Larry?
This series is going to Canandaigua.
I like Canandaigua. I really do. And I did want to say something about this race besides congratulations to Ricky J. Man, that Orange County Fairgrounds track, that thing right there that's some serious business right there because of the speed you can carry and the way those corners are shaped. That is a fantastic track. Don't y'all think?
No, I'm just kidding. No, that's a good. That's one of our better dirt tracks. It has a good outside solid lane. You're not fried out in the wind, so to say. When you get in the outside, you can actually pass guys out there. Most of our tracks are just kind of like low groove racetracks, but this one's got a solid outside line.
Yes, myself and Steve Looney talked about that outside line after the race, and we felt like that there might be something there. There's several lanes on that track, but the speeds that you carry on that track is really what makes it exciting for me because you really get to haul in the mail around there, and it just makes it super exciting when you're going that fast going down into a corner in a dirt car.
Yeah.
Yes, it's fun because there's always more room to maneuver and it creates some really good fun racing, and those are the type of tracks I prefer. Tracks that you can move around and find different ways to ride. It's a fun deal.
I actually thought it was interesting when I got around Ricky J. He kind of seemed like he liked more towards the middle, till I got close to him, and then it seemed like he knew that he had to be on the bottoms, so he'd be right against the wall. Then it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, some of those tracks, these dirt tracks that we run that do have that inside wall, makes it a little difficult. It's real easy to turn in a little too early, get a little piece of that wall, and that'll push you right up the track and leave you wide open for people to get by you.
Yeah, that turn one entry wall there is a pretty unique one too. So sometimes it's just better to be on the conservative side while you can, or you hit that wall, it's going to cost you.
And I tell you, Steve Looney, man, he's right there in fourth place in the points in that deal. And I wanted to say something about Steve Looney earlier, and I've figured out Steve Looney, figured out what his magic, what the sawmill, what kind of magic he has. Steve Looney is one of those type of racers that can beat you, and you're happy for him. He's one of the very few people that's so nice that he beats you, and you're like, hey, you kind of cheering for him. And then you realize, hell, he just beat me. Why am I cheering for him? That goes against everything a racer does. But that's Steve's magic. He's kind of, like him being second in them points. I'm looking at that going, yeah, go get him, Steve, because that right there is what will get you of being a good, clean, respectful racer. You'll actually be able to trick people into cheering for you while they beat you.
Well, let's move on here to Saturday night. The Battle of the Six Flavors. This is the night I've been looking forward to here. We are well into we're 2 races into season number 36 of this Saturday night team series. And this week we ran at Daytona. And once again, it was the Ghost team, myself, BSR Texan, with my teammate BSR SS Joba finishing up in second place, pushing me to that victory. We were able to hold the Teriyaki team of Chevy Chase off to third place points 2 victories in a row for the Ghost team. We're starting out season 36 on a great note.
Yep. And you surely wish we were deep into this schedules.
Yes, I do, because I know how these team series go. When these other teams start looking at these points and they start seeing one team, that's starting to pull out of it a little bit. These other teams will kind of start to gang up on that one team a little bit, and that makes it real difficult there.
And your salesman speech didn't work very good on Saturday night, did it?
No, Pockets. I think
Pockets every week, and you'll be fine.
Pockets was outselling me on Saturday night, I believe.
I just love the different scenarios that the Saturday Night Team Series presents on a weekly basis, because he said it right. They've done got out so far, and this is what I said at the end of the race Saturday night. This was part of my sales speech, is that, well, at least now everybody will see y'all way out there 12 points in front, and now everybody's coming after you. They'll work with their worst enemy to get past the leader, I promise you. It's just the different scenarios that this makes. Hey, 2 wins in a row by Ghost. Texan gets both of them with great help from SS Joba and Randy. So now you talk about putting the bullseye on your back. A little bit different in this situation, because now you've got 5 teams with 3 people on them, and you're one team with 3 people. Everybody's looking at you right now, Texan. You know, when we go into the next Saturday night team
that's like
series
15
race,
drivers against 3 drivers. Well, how do you think that's going to turn out?
Very well for you.
Now what you will see here is that Hilla has kind of worked himself out of a job. He's not really got anything to sell now. The only thing he can sell is try to create a situation between the other teams where they will focus on each other and instead of focusing on him and his team. But anybody that's raced the team series knows that's coming and knows what needs to be done. And this is all going to tighten up, I will assure you.
Well, it is a little bit more than 12 points. So let's go over here.
17, wasn't it?
Yeah, let's take a look and see how they stand right now.
Yeah, they really. Yeah, they're just rubbing everybody's nose in it. And I can tell you this: you don't want to rub 5 teams' nose.
I'm not rubbing anybody's nose. Trust me.
I know you're not.
Just enjoy the hat, T-shirt, and original Drunken Cow Jerky sales. While you can.
Yes.
You notice I haven't said a word yet, right?
You're on the team. You're there. You're part of the team. That's all part of the team dynamic. You're just as much a part of the success as they are.
That's right. Every car that Ghost car finishes in front of, that's if that's their top finisher, then we're keeping that car back one more place. So every team member counts, not just the guy who gets the victory or brings home the points for the team. But every car, if we're able to finish in front of another team, then that keeps that team back to another spot, one more point each week, and that matters, especially when it comes down to the end, and these guys all start trying to gang up on us like we know they're going to do, with the hot team and the Reaper team tied for second place, down by 17 points, and then Teriyaki. Chevy Chase finished in 3rd place this last race, brought his team up a spot, only down by 18. Then you got Beer Bacon sitting down by 22, and the original team by 26. It's going to be a battle for sure, and these other teams, they're all going to try to team up on the Ghost team, but it still comes down to those pit stops. We had a caution-free race at Daytona for over 100 laps. I believe it was 106 laps, something like that. Maybe 120 something laps, but caution free all the way up to the very end. We had a blown motor with 4 laps to go, so the race ended under caution, but caution free, and that's like 4 or 5 green flag pit stops. So I'm usually okay in the pit stops, and SS is usually pretty good at the pit stops as well. So even though these teams want to try to gang up on us, they're going to have to put together a lot of green flag pit stops back to back and do them perfect every time to be able to get up there and capitalize and take this ghost team down.
The scenarios that go along with team racing, we could do a 2-hour show and probably not cover it all. Another thing you look at here is you got Beer Bacon and Original down there. Well, hey, why not help a brother out, bring him up a little closer while helping you obtain the same goal of all trying to get up to the top where Ghost is now residing. We're all in your yard looking at ways to get into your house, so why not, hey, Beer Bacon, get on my back and I'll lift you through the window, and then when you get in the window, you can pull me. You see how this all goes. So
I think we played some of that Saturday.
The scenarios here are, especially if you're involved in this brings such a different level to sim racing that is just unheard of in any type of racing, and that's why this series continues to be as successful and fun as it is. And hey, hats off to Texan. He's won too.
I couldn't have done it without my teammates.
SS Joba and Texan on the same team.
Yeah, we weren't.
There ain't nobody surprised that y'all are 17 points ahead. Are we surprised? SS Joba won 4 races 2 seasons ago, or last season.
Entered your channel.
2 seasons.
2 seasons.
3 in a row. Last 3. So
yeah, you and Momo cleaned up good last season. So it was the season before that.
But it's great, man. I mean, the business gets done on Saturday night, and they'll look at those points, and they'll be saying, "All right, what team is what? Oh, you're 10 points ahead, but trust me, they're doing the math. They're playing out the scenarios. They're working together." And that's what it's all about for the Saturday Night Team Series. Battle of the 6 Flavors, brought to you by Drunken Cow Jerky.
It's like they say, mind games are just another factor. The key work is teamwork.
Yep, that's right. And I can promise you that, the Ghost team, we're looking at these points too. And if we end up having to push, Beer Bacon or Original, we'll gladly stay behind a couple of those teams. If we can keep that hot team and Reaper team and Teriyaki team back a little bit, I don't think if we've got some Beer Bacon cars, some Original cars up in the lead draft with us, I don't think they're going to be dropping back to pick up Reaper or Teriyaki if they can be up there in that lead draft, and especially if we're pushing them. So, we don't mind staying behind a team if that's what we have to do to advance our cause as well. So like you said, there's all kinds of factors that play into this team racing, and we're going to be back at Talladega next week. We'll see how that race goes, see if all these other teams are able to team up on Ghost and somebody else pull out the victory and push Ghost back or close those points up a little bit.
And I'll tell you another thing, if you click into these streams and watch these streams, you can see how this all plays out live and in color, and the discussions that are being had are very entertaining. I always say, I don't know why there aren't 10,000 people watching this, because it is highly entertaining when you get these scenarios and the different comments and plans being made. You got people on whisper, and you can only hear them talking to their teammates. Like when I'm streaming, if I whisper my teammates, you as the viewer hear it, but the other competitors don't hear it. So you can kind of see, if you're watching Texan stream and he whispers somebody, you can hear his private communications with his team and how they work together and the scenarios they face. And it's constantly thinking and looking at everyone on the track, not just the car in front of you, not just the car behind you, because that team dynamic changes everything. People drop me. It's just incredible.
I'll tell you. So if you guys have watched my stream from this last Saturday night, there was a point where we were coming up on green flag pit stops with a little over 40 laps to go, and it was just 3 of us in the lead draft: myself, SS, and Chevy Chase on the Teriyaki team. And SS and I were contemplating, saving fuel and staying out an extra lap if we knew Chevy wouldn't be able to make it because he led that run. We were contemplating letting him pit by himself and then staying out with the draft, because that way we knew we would come out well ahead of Chevy after he had to do that lap out with no draft. We would come out well ahead of him. We were contemplating doing that, but we decided against it just because, two cars aren't as fast as three. And all the rest of the group behind us was about 14 seconds off, I believe. And they were gaining on us very slowly. They weren't going to catch us with three cars. But SS and I were talking about it, and if we had left Chevy out like that with that many laps to go in the race, it's a possibility that that group back behind us would have caught us. So we decided to go ahead and pit with Chevy so we could keep our three-car group together. And we knew two cars was better than one when it came down to the end, and we would be able to pass Chevy if we needed to. So, yeah, there's a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking that goes on during these races. And it worked out for us, staying with Chevy and going ahead and pitting that lap. We could have, like I said, we could have stayed out an extra lap and come out of that, a second or two ahead of Chevy where he wouldn't have been able to have our draft. But that decision could have cost us in the end and letting the bigger group catch up to us. So, we decided to stay with him.
And Monty, this is your first season as a full-time participant in the Saturday Night Team Series Battle of the Six Flavors. What in the first couple of races you've had, what's your thoughts on this series and how it works?
Oh, it's fun, but it's not fun when you let your teammate down.
Well, that's everybody has their bad day, and that's the thing about teams is I'm sure your teammates are going to pick you up and dust you off and say, hey man, we win together, we lose together, man, we're working together here. So that's the whole concept and everything. And there's something to be said for, I said last week during that race, we had 4 or 5 cautions, and I said, it's typical. It's the first night of the series. Everybody's hyped up. We got brand new cars, the excitement, the electricity's in the air, yada, yada. Yeah, we had a few more cautions. I said last week, this series typically has a couple of races that go caution free, and it has 2 or 3, 1 or 2 cautions during the race in over 100 laps. As far as the Super Speedway Series race goes with close to 20 people, in my opinion, and trust me, I've raced hundreds and hundreds of them, nothing touches that Saturday Night Team Series when it comes to Super Speedway racing. That is where it gets done right there. It's the best Super Speedway racing you could ever wish to be a part of.
Oh, yeah, it's a blast. I had a blast last night.
That's what it's all about, Monty, and that's why we are here.
Yep, we're all here to have a blast. And like Pockets just said, that series brings a little something extra to super speedway racing. It's not just your everybody against everybody, your teammates, and all the different strategies that can play out just makes that series, top of the board as far as super speedways go. Let's move over and take a look at the Friday night. I did it again. The Friday night Boyles Trucking Series. I tried to click on it while I was pushing the talk button, and once again I got locked up on one particular screen. It wouldn't move for me, but I figured out how to deal with that quickly as I did this time. We lost Ricky J here on the spotter stand, as we're going to talk about him one more time this week. On Saturday night after the team series, we run the Boyles Trucking Speedway Series, or actually it's pretty much all tracks mixed in this season. And we ran at Atlanta this Saturday night. And once again, it was BSR Ricky J and that Boyles Trucking truck that brought home the victory at Atlanta. Nice job, Rick. That's 4 races in 1 week, 4 out of 6. Ricky J brought that Boyles Trucking machine into victory lane. And I got to say, that may be a record. I mean, we've seen guys get 2 and 3 wins in a week, but 4 wins in a single week, man. That's an awesome job. Great job, Rick.
Yes, congrats to Ricky J on his win. But Goo got second. BSR Hot Rod got third. Fourth was Texan, and rounding out the top 5 was Mr. Brian Boyles.
I got nothing to say. Well, let me say this. Kathy did a great job picking a great driver to represent Voiles Trucking. Congratulations to Kathy and everyone at Voiles Trucking. Yes, to Ricky J. Congratulations, Rick. Great win.
I just want to throw out there, they did a awesome job. Ricky J and Magoo were running really close to each other the whole race, and they were the only two cars to end on the lead lap.
Now that is something we could talk about, was the fabulous run at Atlanta that BSR Magoo had. What a great run. Just got back off a little tour on his brand new motorcycle. Joined the fall foliage in the mountains in Colorado, comes wheeling back in for the late night Voiles Trucking Saturday Night Truck Series and gets us. What, he got second place, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
second place.
second place.
He was right on Rick's tail for most of that race.
Yes, he gave Rick all he wanted. And I'll tell you, that race, that Atlanta track, super fast, super tight, big bank corners, hauling the mail, and that was a heck of a race. How many cautions did we have?
One for a blown motor at the end. Same as the truck race.
Yeah, so on Saturday night, what we provided we provided over 200 laps, somewhere in the neighborhood of 220 laps in two different races of great racing with two cautions. I mean, in both great fields of great drivers. We could not be more happy than that. That was a great Atlanta race. I mean, it just was. And I was thinking that first segment, that first 20 laps, I was thinking, now this right here, this is how it's supposed to be, a race in Atlanta. These guys are racing like it's the last lap, and everybody's still giving room, courtesy, thanking them for giving them the room, the whole 9 yards. And it just turned out to be a great race. And those Saturday night races at Voiles Trucking Series are just fantastic.
I'm glad it went pretty much caution free. I had a superb long distance car. That's the only reason I got third, and a little bit of pitch strategy I got around Texan with.
And I will assure you, I'm telling you, these are great races. And I literally sucked last night, but I was still glad that I got to be a part of a great race. You know what I mean? It was still a good race.
Yeah, it was a great race. We're 6 races into this series now, so that leaves us, I believe, 4 races to go. Let's take a look at our standings here. 6 races in, I'm holding the top spot with BSR Brian Voiles, sponsor of the series, in second place, down by 29. BSR Scar in third, down by 33. Hot Rod with the great run, third place finish, moves up 2 spots to tie Steve Looney for 4th place, both down by 41. Ricky J with the win also moved up 2 spots to tie for 6th place with Monty Keller, down by 46.
All I know is anybody noticing the success that Brian Voiles has been having lately? I hope that's not going unnoticed.
Yes, I have most definitely, because normally I run around the back with him all the time, and he's like up front now all the time, and I'm like, man, what the hell did he do that I can't do?
I'm telling you, that guy has, he's got his racing machines underneath him, and he's having some great finishes and great races, and so it's worth noting.
You know where his secret came from, though, don't you?
Yeah, I believe it's that new driver they just brought on board there.
That's the tips from that Ricky J guy. That's what's getting him there.
Yeah, he's been sharing a little some tips and secrets there, and Brian has definitely been benefiting. I mean, he put together the win last week at Vegas in the trucks, and had some great finishes here lately. Up in second place in this series with 4 races to go.
Well, I wasn't gonna go that far with it and point out. I mean, we've talked enough about Ricky Johnson. I'm pretty sick of talking about it, but I was just gonna say that Brian's doing a great job.
Yes, he most certainly is, Buckets. I agree 100%. Like I said, I used to run around the back with him all the time, and he's up there, and I couldn't be happier for him either.
Are there any other standings or renders of Rick Johnson? Or are we done? Or
No, we finished.
Okay.
We finished them all off. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just checking how much more of this I had to endure.
Well, this is the time in the show where we like to take a few minutes to thank all of our sponsors. We'd like to send a big thanks out to Mark and Richard Heyman over at Drunken Cow Jerky. Also, Brian and Kathy Voiles from Voiles Trucking. We'd like to thank Rick Craddock from Realtech LLC. BSR Scar from WLS Graphics. Also, BSR RJ Rusty over at the Medicine Chest Pharmacy. And BSR Tyler and Rhoda from Hello Sunshine Hello. We appreciate everything that all of you guys do for us here at Bomb Squad Racing. Makes this place one of the best places to race online. Thanks to all of our sponsors who pitch in and help us out every week and all season long. We couldn't do it all without you guys. We really appreciate you.
Hey, and everybody, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate y'all being here. And y'all come back and see us next week on the Spotter Stand.
See ya.
Hey, thanks to all you guys who tuned in and watched live. And thanks to everybody who joined us this week. You guys are always welcome to come back. It's great to have all the extra drivers in here, the extra input every week. It's great to hear from some of the different drivers. So hopefully some of you guys can come back and join us next week. And with that, we're going to sign out of here. And we'll see all you guys next week.